I never imagined it would come to this. My name's Eric, I'm 38, and for years I believed that love meant enduring anything, no matter how much it hurt or how little respect I felt in return. We had been married for 12 years. For most of that time I thought we were solid, untouchable. Her name is Vanessa. She's funny, charming, and when she wants to be, absolutely magnetic. People always said we had the perfect relationship. But beneath the surface, things had been quietly crumbling, and I had been ignoring it, or maybe I had been convincing myself it wasn't happening at all. I've always been the patient one. The type of man who listens, nods, forgives. I smiled through sarcastic remarks, laughed off the digs, and told myself it didn't matter. I rationalized it. I told myself that she didn't mean half the things she said. But the cracks were there, tiny at first, then growing wider every year. The subtle comments about how I never did enough, the jokes about me being weak or boring, the little sighs whenever I tried to contribute, it all added up. And somehow I always stayed. I wanted to believe in us, in the marriage, in the idea that love conquers everything. Until one morning I realized love wasn't enough. It started innocently enough, as these things always do. Vanessa had been planning a girls' trip for months, a long weekend away with her friends. I thought it was normal, harmless even. I encouraged her to go, to enjoy herself. "You deserve it," I said, genuinely smiling. In my head, I pictured her laughing, carefree, posting pictures, having fun without me, and I should have been happy. I should have seen it as a break, a chance for her to recharge, for us to reset. But the truth was, that weekend became the turning point, the weekend that made me realize I had been living in a shadow, someone who was constantly taken for granted, whose feelings didn't matter. The morning she left, she kissed me, hugged me, and whispered, "Don't wait up for me. Go enjoy your weekend too." I nodded and waved as she drove off with her friends, the car disappearing down the street. I stood in the driveway watching her go, and for the first time in years, I felt a clarity I hadn't experienced in a long time. A calm, quiet determination settled over me. No yelling, no confrontation, just a realization that I had reached the end of my patience, the end of my silent suffering. For the next few hours, I went through the motions I had repeated countless times before. I drank my coffee, checked emails, tried to focus on work. But my mind kept returning to her words, her tone, the way she had laughed when she said things that subtly belittled me for years. And that's when it hit me. This wasn't about a weekend trip. This was about the years of being undervalued, ignored, dismissed, and laughed at. This was about respect, or the lack of it. I realized then that no amount of talking, pleading, or hoping would fix the imbalance in our marriage. She never understood how her words, her jokes, her casual dismissals had chipped away at my self-worth. So I did something I never thought I could. I started packing. Slowly, methodically, quietly. Not in anger, not in a rush, not as some dramatic revenge. Just calm, deliberate action. I packed the essentials, things that mattered to me, my clothes, my laptop, the books I couldn't live without. I even left a few things behind intentionally, knowing she'd notice, but I didn't care. This wasn't about proving a point, it was about reclaiming my life. My patience had run out years ago, but I had been too polite, too forgiving, too hopeful. And now, finally, I understood that walking away was the only way to save my own dignity. I left a note on the kitchen counter. Short, simple, clear. I didn't sugarcoat it. I didn't write long explanations or apologies. I just wrote, "I've left. This is what I needed to do for myself. Please respect my space." Nothing more. No blame, no dramatics, no attempts to manipulate. I wanted her to know immediately that I wasn't being vindictive, I wasn't angry. I was simply done. For the first time in over a decade, I felt free, unburdened, in control of my own life. I had stopped being the man who quietly endured. I had stopped pretending everything was fine. And that, as simple as it sounds, was revolutionary. When she returned a few days later, I wasn't there. The house was quiet, empty, almost sterile in its stillness. I imagined the confusion on her face when she walked in and didn't see me. I imagined the panic, the questions, the disbelief. Part of me wondered if she would ever understand, if she would ever recognize the years of subtle, constant disregard that had led to this moment. But I didn't want to be part of that conversation. I wasn't going to justify myself. I wasn't going to debate her feelings or my own. I was done explaining. My actions were my explanation. Walking away finally was my voice, my statement, my boundary. It was the only thing that spoke loud enough to be heard over the years of laughter, snide comments, and dismissive behavior. I moved into a small apartment not far from our home. Simple, quiet, untouched by the years of tension and silent arguments. I spent the first few nights alone, sitting in the darkness, and for a moment I questioned myself. Was this the right choice? Could I have tried harder? Could I have changed, bent, endured a little more? But the truth, the stark, undeniable truth, settled over me. No. I had done all I could, more than most would have tolerated, more than most would have noticed. This was about respect, about dignity, about finally putting myself first in a relationship where I had spent years putting everyone else first. Always her first, always the children first, always the house, the meals, the laundry first, and me last.